a tale loosely based on a short parable that Jesus told. Once there were two brothers, the Blues Brothers, who lived in a small town. They had built their own houses. Luigi had built a tall brown house because he wanted his house to be taller than his brother's. Mario had built a small red house. They loved where they lived. They loved the sorts of things that they enjoyed every day. Like Luigi enjoyed riding Warren, his horse, and he especially loved his classic motorcycle that had been given to him by his cousin, Pastor Vic. Mario enjoyed his small red house. He loved riding his horse, Pesty, who nobody else seemed to want for some reason, but he enjoyed immensely. And he loved to ride around too on his prize red bike. But they didn't own very much. They were very poor, so they had to go out and work hard. So they worked at the farm of Old Macdonald. Each day they would help out on the farm. They would feed the horses hay. They would groom them with the brush and get out all the dirt and knots in the hair. And they would give them water to drink. This happened day after day. But on this day, Old Macdonald came along. And he said, "Boys, you see this here round paddock? I want ye to be removing the rocks here. They're too big for a man like me." And so they did. They got to work straight away. And as they worked and pulled away the rocks, suddenly they saw something shiny and gleaming under the rocks. "What's that?" said Luigi. "It looks like treasure, hidden in the field." "Wow, what do we do?" said Mario. "I know," said Luigi. "We'll cover it up again and we'll go to Old Macdonald and we'll offer to buy this paddock, and then we will own the treasure as well." So that's what they did. They went off and asked Old Macdonald how much for the paddock. Old Macdonald was quite amused that they would want the worst paddock on his farm. And so he said, "Well, boys, that'll cost you $1,000. $1,000, they said. "That's very cheap." Oh, pardon me, I meant $1,000,000, said Old Macdonald, thinking they perhaps might be a bit simple. So they decided, wow, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. That would cost more than, well, we'd have to sell everything, said Mario and Luigi to one another. Mario thought about it, and he thought about his house and his horse Pesty and his bike, and he said, "I don't want to do it. I love what I've got too much. I don't want to buy. I don't think the treasure's worth it." Luigi had to think about it and decided, yes, the treasure was more important than everything else he had. And so he went off to the shop in town. Luigi asked, "How much will you give me for the house?" He said, "I'll give you $750,000. Oh, that's not quite $1 million. I wonder, how much will you give me for Warren the horse?" "Wow," said the shopkeeper, "he's quite a prize horse. I'll give you $245,000. "Oh, I'm still $5,000 short," thought Luigi. "All I've got left is the prize Triumph Classic motorbike that Pastor Vic gave me. Okay, how much will you give me for the classic motorbike?" "Oh," he said, "well, it's a limited market, but I'll give you $5,000. "Whew," said Luigi, "that's just enough. I'll sell everything I have, and then I can buy the field." And so that's just what he did. He went back to Old Macdonald, who had just bought a classic motorbike and was smiling from ear to ear. He'd also just bought a wonderful black horse called Warren. And he had also bought a lovely new house in town, a tall brown house. Luigi didn't mind though. He knew what he wanted, and so he handed over the $1 million and bought the round field with all the rocks. And there he took the treasure, and he was happy because now he could do the things that he really wanted to do in life. The treasure would enable him to do that. And of course our story is not about money and that sort of treasure. Jesus told the story because God is the greatest treasure. Only God can enable us to do the wonderful things in life that will truly make us happy. But sometimes we must give up things in order to follow God, in order to get something better. And that's what Jesus was telling us. The greatest treasure is God.